Hey, it's Abdullah, and the other day I was in the Nokia conversations group on Telegram by Nokia New, and we were having a discussion about biased and unbiased reviews. And a user by the name of Farouk asked a very good question. How can I trust Abdullah with Nokia reviews since he is the Mr. Nokia? Isn't he expected to be a little bit biased? I think that's a very valid question. And I think everybody knows that I am a fan of Nokia. It's not like I'm trying to hide it or anything. And to answer the question truthfully, of course I'm a little bit biased. I think everyone is a little bit biased in one way or the other. Even the biggest YouTubers producing content covering almost every single phone. And it only becomes a problem when it leads to intentionally misleading people or sharing false information. But it's a part of being human. And biases usually come from past experiences or specific preferences. And since we all have different preferences and priorities, we're all a little bit biased, no matter how objective we try to be in portraying the information. So in order to help you understand how I look at things and what helps me decide if I like a phone or not, you need to understand my personal preferences. So for me, there are 4 aspects that I put almost above anything else when I'm looking at a device. Number 1 is design and build quality. Number 2 is user experience / convenience. Number 3 is cameras. And number 4 is battery life. Probably in that order. So these are my 4 priorities, and they influence how I assess a phone and whether a phone is suitable for my needs or not. However, when I review a device, I don't just look at these 4 aspects. I try and cover as many things as possible, even the things that I don't personally care about that much. Things such as CPU and GPU benchmarks, gaming tests, charging speeds, certain customization options that I don't care about at all, and so on. And I do this because I know that a lot of you will care about these aspects, and they will definitely help you make your mind on whether the phone is suitable for you or not. My conclusions at the end of the videos is still heavily influenced by my own 4 priorities. And it's also why I started adding the buy this product if and don't buy this product if segment into my reviews, so that I cover as many priorities for as many different people as possible. And after mentioning the buy if or don't buy if points, you should have had enough information by now to make your own decision. And if your priorities are similar to mine, then you most likely will agree with my conclusions. And if they aren't, you probably won't, and that's okay. Now let me give you a bit of an insight about my own purchasing history when it comes to phones. And I personally feel like I've always been consistent with my priorities, even when Nokia wasn't making phones anymore. Like for example, I ended up buying the LG G6 over the Samsung Galaxy S8 because I preferred the way it felt in the hand and because of the ultra-wide camera. Back then they almost cost the same, and the Galaxy S8 actually had the better processor. And back when the HTC 10 came out, it was also my device of choice over any other Android device back then. And this was mainly due to its design and build quality and a pretty competent spec sheet all round. If we were to go almost 10 years ago, I owned the Galaxy S1 and I sold it immediately after the Nokia N8 came out because I just preferred the design and the build quality and the camera on the N8 just so much more. Even though the Galaxy S1 had a much better display, a much better processor, and in my opinion back then Android was a bit better than Symbian. As for my favorite device of all time, the honor goes to the Nokia N9. Simply because I loved the design and the build quality on the N9, and the user experience thanks to Migo Harmattan was unmatched back then. I also couldn't care less that the Lumia 920 had bigger bezels than the Galaxy S3, just because of how nice it looked and that awesome camera that it had. I was even a satisfied Windows Phone 8 user despite the limited customization options compared to Android, all because I much preferred the ease of use and the user experience on Windows Phone over Android. As for modern Nokia devices, the favorite device for me is the Nokia 8 Sirocco, mainly because of the build quality and design once again. And I owned that phone for almost 2 years before replacing it by something else, without caring at all that it had a 1-year-old chipset when I bought it, all thanks to a competent user experience still. And these 4 priorities, especially the focus on design and build quality, is the reason I wouldn't personally own the Galaxy A52. Even though I think it's a very competent all-rounder and would easily recommend it to a lot of people. It's a good phone, just not my cup of tea. And this might probably surprise you, but I would have probably been an iPhone user if I actually liked their design language a bit more. iOS is a very convenient and user-friendly operating system, even though it does have its limitations. Thankfully though, Apple has saved me a lot of money by including that very off-putting notch and an off-centered camera on the back. If you were to ask me 5 years ago, I would have never said this. But as I'm approaching 30, my priorities are changing a little bit, and there's also a lot of emphasis now on the overall user experience and convenience, which iOS provides. I've always looked at phones as more of an emotional decision, one that also influences your lifestyle, rather than something that you buy based on just numbers. And I think the fact that Apple still sells as many phones as they do is perfect proof that a lot of people have a similar attitude and mentality towards owning a phone. Anyways, now that I've shared a window into my own life and how I look and assess things and my priorities, I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. And let's make it interesting by saying, what are your 3 top priorities in a phone right now? Do you buy a phone based on numbers and the scientific analysis of the data and the benchmarks and all that? Or do you buy a phone because of your emotional attachment, or that it fits into your lifestyle, or you like the way it looks and has competent enough specs? Let's discuss in the comments down below. Anyways, that's it from me. If you guys want to support this channel, please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying my content, and I shall see you in the next one.